Hey everybody, I thought it would be fun to revisit some of these items and talk about a few things that have been on my mind. I just had them laid out here so that I have a good thumbnail for you, but we'll get these out of the way and talk about them individually, or in small groups at least. So a few friends of mine that do reviews have been talking about the Gal rice ball, and unfortunately the two fellows that I see that have it don't have really the original version. This was the original version. I think you can still get it this way, and I don't know who's responsible, if it's Gal, if it's somebody copying Gal, making clones, or I think it's Gal, honestly, based on my knowledge of Gal and their practices and stuff. There's a version of this that's less, like I paid somewhere around 80 or 90 for this, I think, and the top comes off, and there should be 3 magnets that come loose underneath that, and then on the inside you have these balls. You should have 3 loose balls for each of these slots, and then 3 magnets that should be loose. Let's just get all this stuff out of the way. I just want to make sure everybody's clear on what you should have. If you buy a lesser expensive one, I mean, you got to look at the photos. When you go to places like AliExpress, you got to really look at the photos, all the photos, and make sure you're getting, you have to know what you're getting in the first place. But like I said, this there's a little hole right there, and I'm going to do it this way because I don't have anything else to get it out with. Handy. But you see these magnets, now they're loose. Let's just get them out of the picture here. 1, 2, 3. Those are supposed to be free. Now, that's so that you can change the way it works. If you take these out and just put the 3 magnets in here, well, you can see that it's only going to stop on the corners. But if you were to put the magnets in here, again, as well as putting back these 3 magnets, then it's going to stop on the corner and in the middle, then on the corner, then the middle, and such. So you should have that option to be able to take those out. And the ones that I'm seeing don't have that. Mine is a very, it's not sandblasted. I don't know if it's a stone washed finish or not, but like I said, mine was one of the very first ones, and mine was a mess when I got it. I don't know who I got it from. It was on AliExpress, but these 2 magnets that hold it together in the middle with the bearing, that one of those was installed backward, so they were actually opposing each other. I had to tear that out and fix it. There were other issues I'm not going to go into, but you should know the difference between what the original rice ball is and can do compared to what the one that seems to be more available at this time, which just doesn't have all those features. I think either Gal found it less expensive and less of a pain to deal with customer service if they just glued these inner 3 magnets in and be done with it. But you know, then what's the point in having this plate come off if you can't move the magnets around? So that's the story with that one. Then I just did a review on this, but I can't tell you how much I like this. For I've seen it as low as $7 or $8 from different stores on Ali, and it's nothing more than like a Snapple cap, but it's stainless steel. You will have to probably repair it. I made a video about that. The way it comes, it wants to compress and stay compressed. It'll wear out. But if you manage to take this apart and put a little bit of foam on the inside of it, and it's a very easy process. I detailed it in a video. I've gotten probably thousands of clicks out of this now, and it hasn't stuck in the concave shape once. And that means clicking both sides at the same time. I've been using it quite a bit. It's just so light to carry, so easy to carry, so discreet. You don't have to be loud with it. You can kind of be quiet with it. My dad loves it. So that's just something I wanted to talk about. This was Black Mirror Designs, I believe, is who they did this. And you know, I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but I'll find it and I'll put it right here somewhere in text on the screen. But this one is I got used, but the price was nice. It was it's titanium, and normally I go for stainless steel. Titanium would be a little bit more expensive, but the fellow that had this for sale had it priced as though it were stainless, so I went ahead and grabbed it. Now, titanium, a lot of us are already aware of. There can be issues with titanium. Now, this appears to be a brass piece on the inside. I'm not sure, but it sure looks brass or bronze to me, with a pretty bad patina on it. But these two pieces are supposed to be, the outer pieces are supposed to be titanium. So we know that titanium against titanium is not necessarily a good thing, because it has a tendency to bind up. So we know titanium against titanium is not a good, like a surface plate for a slider. But this thing, with its brass or bronze insert, I tried using graphite, and graphite was utterly worthless. You have to put oil on this, otherwise it binds up. And again, it's not the titanium is not touching titanium, but it must bind up with the brass as well, or bronze, whatever that piece is. But if you keep it lubricated, then this tends to be a nice little piece. I like it. I don't like the fact that I have to put lube on it. I mean, basically everything I own does not need to be lubricated, and I don't need tape on anything, and really neither should you. Now, tape could be an exception if you're trying to make it quiet, if you have tinnitus. But generally speaking, I don't like tape. I don't like lubrication. A while back, I did a video that I don't think I'll ever do again, where I said, if you could have only one, and I picked this one. And what is this? I'll have to think of the name of this one too. I'm not with it this evening. But I said this would be the one I'd pick, because it has all these features. It's a ball slider. It's a pivot slider. You can take the pivot out and it becomes a free-floating slider, although it's a very weak one. The magnets aren't very strong. It's not very good for laddering and everything. But I think, that's because this was a particular favorite out of the bunch at the time that I made that video. Because not too much later, someone had asked me, I think they watched that video about this, and said, well, what do you think of the stamp by EDC? And it just so happened to be that the stamp was the thing that I had been carrying, and I still do carry probably the most, because it's the only piece I have that's zirconium. Again, kind of like this titanium one. I just got a great price on this used, and it would have cost the same in stainless. I ended up paying and getting a zirconium one, and I like it. But I'm not a zirc person. So stainless is good enough for me. It's durable and it's inexpensive. That's my favorite material. I like titanium because of its exotic properties, if you want to call it exotic. It's exotic to me. Back when they made the SR-71 Blackbird, did you know that the CIA actually had to set up fake companies to acquire enough titanium to make the body for that plane? Titanium's mined in places like Russia, Afghanistan, I think Japan, anywhere but America, I think. So off track. Anyhow, zirconium. I like it, but it's not important. And boy, I really got off track with that. I think I told the fella, lately I think this would be, if I could have only one, I would want this one, because it's smaller and it's easier to carry. It does a lot of the same things, and I've just been really happy with it. So to make another video saying if I could only have one, that's kind of like saying, well, this is my favorite one right now, because that changes. And to prove that point, this came in the mail not too long ago. I think this is one of my newest pieces, and this is the Mini SP. I'll have to look that up to be sure too. But it's one of the latest releases from Gal Studios, and it's turning out to be one of my favorite pieces of all time. And it's all because of how it's designed and how it works. In one direction, I have sort of an aggressive setup, and I can get 4 good louder clicks. And in the other direction, it's almost silent 4 clicks. But they're definitely there, and you can feel them. The thing with this is you have to get used to holding it. You have to grip it between your fingers like this and sort of regulate the speed this top piece slides, because if you don't, it just wants to slide all the way back. But with your help, and GAL, again, this is sort of something common amongst GAL products. I often use the word delicate. GAL makes delicate pieces. Like in this direction, it's very delicate. Like, listen to this. And that's sort of me amplifying it with the whole hand cup pop, shape. And then the other side, much different. Nice clicky buttons that are nice and concave. So when I'm walking around at work, I can be going out through the factory. I don't have to worry about making noise. And I do like the stronger clicks, so I'll do that. And then when I get over to the offices where the engineers are, I switch over to the silent mode. And this is like my favorite now. If I said, well, if I could only have one, it would probably be this one right now. So no more videos like that, I don't think. So let's talk about 01 EDC a little bit. There were problems with this when it came out. A lot of people had magnet issues. I did not, but I did not buy mine through the same source. Got mine on AliExpress. And part of the apology for that was anyone that was affected by it was going to get a small version of the 01 pod. This is the pod, the original pod. This is stainless. But they were supposed to get one that said, I'm sorry. And it looks like they did, but it looks like they all got Ultim plastic. So I think whenever they initially showed pictures of what they were going to get, it was not plastic. But either way, it's a nice apology. I don't know how well that was received. I've seen a few for sale, but at least that's behind us. Now we can talk about the future. This does happen to be one of my favorite tracked sliders. Magnetic, 3-level, slides both ways. Lots of people have reviewed it. This one's just stainless steel. What I found out recently is you can buy a all mechanical insert that replaces the magnetic inserts that you see here. You can buy that separately, which I don't want to do, or you can buy a whole new 01 slider, and the designs I've seen on Ali don't look the same as this, which is unfortunate. I would have preferred to have had a mechanical version that looked just like this, and I don't know, that might be out of reach. The insert by itself seems pretty darn expensive, and certainly the way I see these priced as mechanical only is a little too expensive for me right now too. But I do like this, and I was really happy when they came out with the pod. The pod is perfectly sized, tiny, a little loud. The aluminum ones are only about $45, $50. This was stainless steel. I think I might have paid, well, I bought one when it was first new, so it was probably over 80, maybe around 90, I'm not sure, but it was something I really wanted. I don't normally pay a lot for stuff, but that's one of them I really wanted to have. And this is the pod, and I thought, well, I can't wait till they come out with the pod too, I assumed it would be bigger, maybe flatter, maybe something more along the lines of this. But the design of this is quite different, because the middle magnet, there's 3 magnets here, and the middle one is in the opposite direction, polarity-wise. Same thing on this side. And then here, in the middle, the sandwich piece only has a magnet here and a magnet here. So when it travels, it goes from magnet, skips over the middle magnet, and goes to this magnet. And the fact that the middle magnet is repelling makes it jump all the better. So it's very responsive. That's what makes it so interesting. I thought, well, you know, I can't wait till they come out with a Pod 2. And then they came out with a Pod 2, and I honestly can't stand the way it looks. It looks just like 01 has another product that I don't know what they call it. I'll have to look for it. Matter of fact, I'll pause here in a moment and I'll find pictures to throw up so that we all know what we're talking about. But I call it the stapler. It looks like a stapler, and the Pod 2 looks like a miniature version of the stapler, and it functions apparently the same way that this does. It's just a really unusual shape. I mean, it's like, it's misleading to the eyes. It tapers off, it tapers down. It has a pendant hole, which is kind of odd. You know, I don't know. It's something that Gal Studio does. You know, they put a place to put a lanyard on things that you're never ever going to do. But so I'm not real thrilled with the Pod 2, and I'm not going to get one unless it comes up super cheap on the buy sell trade. Yeah, so that's a little disappointing with 01 EDC. I don't care for that very much. But let's move on. I've also seen, ever since I did the review on this one, I had this first. You notice they look virtually identical. This one is a ball slider, but wait a minute, I've got these mixed up. Yes, this is the one that I had first. So this is a ball slider, but it's also, let's figure out how to do this. There we go. I'll turn it sideways, get it to the middle here. It's also a pivot slider. So once you take the balls out and reassemble it, you know, it does more than just an ordinary slider does. And these are cheap. This is sort of a, there's a handful of these that all appear to be made by the same company. They all come out at about the same time, and honestly they look similar, and some of them are even interchangeable. But where was I going with that? Some people saw the video for this and then ordered one, but in the mail they ended up getting this. And I ended up getting this recently off of, you can get all this stuff off of Amazon these days. You don't have to go to AliExpress anymore. But they did two versions of this. So one of them is just a slider, which you can use with or without the balls. And it's actually not bad. It's not bad at all. And then we have this one. And unfortunately, we cannot remove the pin on this one. So that you can't take the pin out and do laddering, which this one would have been able to do. But on the other hand, it is a pivot slider. So be aware of that. If you're looking for these, if you're looking to get one of these, the one that has 2 rows of magnets, see, if you see it from this side, you won't see the little slot that's a telltale sign that it's a pivot slider. And in photos, you might get confused as to what you're getting. But the fact is, if it has side-by-side magnets, it's the pivot slider. If it has a single row of magnets in the middle, then it's just the ball slider. So there you have that little warning. And speaking of balls, what I wanted to do was, oh boy, I'm gonna have to pick all those up later. I have been talking poorly about nylon balls. You know, there's usually like 3 different kinds that we see in our sliders here. All the ones that just rolled onto the floor that came out of these, those are, grab one here. That's a white ceramic. So it's basically a glass ball. And that's awesome because it's not magnetic. The other kind that you'll get, I don't think I have any out here to show you as an example, but it's also ceramic, but it's black or very, very dark gray. And those are silicone nitride. And they behave a lot like these do. They're both ceramic. Then typically the cheapest option you'll see is a regular magnetic steel ball. And those suck because every time they come out of the track, or when you take this thing apart, whatever fidget it is, they all get stuck to the magnets. So I hate steel balls. Even stainless steel can be magnetic. So you can get stainless steel balls that are either not magnetic or barely magnetic, and those are suitable if you want metal. But I prefer, at least what I was saying most of the time, is I prefer these white ceramic ones or the black silicone nitride ones. The other option are the ones that I've been talking very poorly about, and that would be, you can see how dirty they are. That's why I think they're nylon. These are like the cheapest ones you can get, and I typically didn't use them in anything, and now all of a sudden I'm finding a use for them all over the place, because, and I'll tell you why. I just discovered that, you know, some of these, like this one in particular, I think this is what started the whole thing. This one is called the Biscuit, and it's from Clown Orange is the name of the company. And the magnets on this are so strong that it hurts your fingers almost. When you get done playing with it, your fingers almost feel numb. And it was also very loud. It's still loud. But by putting in those softer nylon balls, it absorbs the sound, makes everything a little bit softer, and makes this a ton more acceptable. So along those lines, I followed through, and you know, this one most of these I used to keep the white ceramic balls were my standard, but this is the pig nose slider, and to me, it's just a lot less harsh with these nylon balls in. It's a lot less harsh, feels better. Another one. Now this one I sort of put together myself. This was a 2-level slider, and then I bought this middle part separately. It's actually my only piece. This middle piece is made of cupronickel, which I believe is just an alloy of copper and nickel. And I don't know if you can see it in this light or not, but it does have a slight yellowish tint to it. And the outer pieces are stainless. So it was a 2-level slider, and then I bought the middle piece. And I did have the white ceramic balls in this one, but the magnets aren't very, very strong in this setup, and it felt kind of loose and weak when it was fully extended, and kind of rattly, and it still is depending on how you do it. But with those plastic nylon balls in here, it made a huge difference. Now it just feels smoother. You can hear it's not as clickety clackety as you might expect it to be with ceramic balls or metal balls. That's another example. This one is stainless steel. I kind of lamented that I never got one in the G10 material, because the magnets for this are not strong enough for stainless steel. It's too heavy. When it's out here at the end, it's a little too heavy. But if this was G10, the magnets would be a perfect strength. Either way, I used to have the white ceramic balls in this one, and it just felt a little too, again, like this, it felt a little too loose, and these nylon balls made it possible for me to use less. So I was able to put 3 in here, and so I was putting 5 in here, I think. But now I can put 3 in, and I can slide this all the way out to the end, and it no longer feels like it's going to rock right off the end. It's hard to explain, but those little nylon balls, the ones I said are so shitty, made all the difference in the world. Same thing with this. If you see this piece of garbage, don't buy it in stainless steel. There are versions of this that are much more expensive in titanium that have a blasted finish. This was Marcia, I think. And it works good if you take the balls out. It's a nice free-floating slider, but with the balls in, especially if you have the metal ones in or the ceramic ones in, it's just like this. You get out to the end here, and it would be so loose that it was dangerous. There, I lost a ball. Put that back in. And you see these actually look a little dirty too. It doesn't take long for them to get that way. But by putting the plastic ones in, it made this one much more usable. You know, I don't really use this one much, but I'm going to keep it. It's part of my collection now. And at least now, I feel like it's more usable. Before, I was just sort of disappointed, and well, it is what it is kind of a thing. The only thing I have so far that hasn't been, well, that's not true. You know, a lot of these sliders that I have balls in still have the white ceramic ones. The ones I just showed you are sort of the exception. The ones that I thought were good application for those the soft nylon balls. But like this is an example of this PEI or this Ultim 3-level slider. It came, here I do have some to show you. These are the black silicone nitride balls. Let's see if I can get one out of here. So they're non-magnetic, and of course I like black. It's always prettier. And I would not want to put those nylon cheaper balls in here because I like the crispness of this, and I like these balls are much higher precision, more spherical continuity. Their surfaces are perfect compared to those nylon ones. The nylon ones, you see how dirty they're getting. They don't have a smooth surface. They probably don't have a very even surface. But these things, when you want that crisp feedback, go with the other balls. And I think, friends, that is it. And I should have something coming in the mail here within a couple weeks. We'll see. If not, I wish you well, and I hope you're enjoying yourself. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks. Bye.